After starting up a new project, importing our mesh, let's quickly set things up. Here in display settings, change environment alignment to camera. That way model will be better lit up when you move it around. Press this little croissant button to go to baking settings. We need it to bake textures. That way when we apply some smart masks, they will recognize mesh and will be mapped properly. Wait till it finishes baking, and we can go back to the main screen that by pressing brush button next to croissant. Now let's drop some materials from Substance Asset Library. I like this sandblasted metal as a base. As you can see, I am adding 2 materials to grip. That is because I'm going to apply a mask to rubber grip material, so it will appear only in the appropriate spots of the model. Black mask is going to hide rubber material completely, so now we have plastic grip mask selected, so we can edit it. We have our brush tool active and white color selected. So now I'm going to paint in mask in a way that seems fit. Do it as you like or the way your project calls for. Done with grip for now. So now I am going to play around with base sandblasted metal material. I am adjusting tiling to a higher value to have grains appear smaller. Maybe it is a nitpick and it might look better in game if I were to leave as is, because gun will occupy much less space on screen in game than here in Painter. So maybe to have certain details readable, you might want to have them a bit exaggerated. Next in Asset Library, I am changing filter to Smart Masks and looking for first details to add to my gun. We will need details like dust, speckles of it, fingerprints, smudges, scratches, and anything appropriate to make our gun have more to it than just metal. In Properties tab, you will find material channels. So for each type of gun detail, we are going to select the most appropriate channels. Dust has a bit of color, certain roughness, and it reduces metalness of the surface. Adjusting these values up to you and your vision. Process is iterative, but my general advice is to not overdo any single layer. If you think that something is enough, it is always a safe bet to dial it down a notch. Because as you will see, I like to pile in a ton of different details and to have complexity and visual interest appear from variety of different effects rather than from one layer overshadowing others. Another note, base materials like sandblasted metal have presets that control color. I would recommend turning color channel off in Properties and creating a new fill layer that only controls color. Greater flexibility plus if you plan many skins for your gun that will help you later. I don't like the way grip is contoured, so I am going to touch it up. I encourage you to dig deeper into the masking philosophy of work. As a non-destructive tool, it is invaluable to your arsenal. Masks that I use the most are from the Asset Library, but there is also an option to create and control them using generators, paint them manually, or combine all of these ways. Here I am trying to balance scratches that I applied to edges. For greater control over height values, you can right-click on the material icon of the layer and select Add Levels. Change affected channel to height and play around with it until it looks right. Since by concept our gun is for use in urban environments, that might mean that someone would touch it and interact with it without a glove, so it might as well have fingerprint and smudges of sweaty palms. I don't think I achieved effect like that here, but this fingerprint layer just added some more subtle variations to overall texture, so I just moved on. Next up is one of my favorite steps in texturing is adding slight color variation. Although our gun is primarily gunmetal, our goal here to add such small amount of color variation that will be mostly perceived by your subconsciousness, I guess, rather than pulling your attention to it. So what I did here, I added a new fill layer and kept active only color channel. By pressing on base color button in Properties and searching for word fractal, I chose a texture that looks like colorful noise. And I adjusted its tiling so it would appear larger and color splashes would cover gun. Change also projection type to triplanar to avoid some of the artifacts and cover up lazy UV work. We're going to add black mask and add fill to that mask. Press grayscale button and search for clouds texture and set projection again to triplanar. Adjust balance to have it appear in fewer spots. Here I am going to mainly work on how this texture is applied now. I am going change blend model from normal to something different. I really don't know what am I doing here, so I am searching for something that looks okay. I settled on the difference and I set its opacity to 20 something, but I don't like that it is applied on the grip too. I am going to create a group and place this color variation layer in that group and create mask for that group. You can copy and paste mask that we used on plastic grip layer. Just press right click on the group mask and invert it. I want to add slight scratches on the front of this chamber cover where it might come in contact with the slide. I select crop projection to shape, and I scale down this triplanar projection to edit only part that I want. I use directional noise texture as a base and adjust the values slightly using techniques discussed previously. I don't like that barrel is all muddied up, so I'm manually painting masks on layer that affect it to clean it up. I clean up only barrel, as it might be visible during shooting as the slides move back. Now that I am satisfied with a material, I create new folder and pack all layers in there. Name it and save as Smart Material Preset after pressing right-click on the group. I included some unnecessary layers here, but you can update your materials later on, or just be selective with what you include in it. Save it to your library of assets, and as you build it up, you might have a lot of cool stuff that will save you time later down the line. Now you can drag and drop this material on any mesh you like. Now I am adding additional details exclusive to this mesh, majority of which will affect only height level. I need to clean this one up and add another metal, which looks more brushed. A bit more details. I want to add more color variation to muzzle parts separately, but I am going to use generator on the mask that is bound to ambient occlusion texture that we baked at the very start. When you don't know what texture to tie your generator, to just go through these viewport options here, as this might give you a better idea. Ambient occlusion is the right option for my muzzle, but once applied it turns a weapon into a clown horn. Use global invert and set it to true. Let's add a color and height layer for the trigger. Adding a bit more details for flavor. I will stop here, but push your project as far as you like. Now the next step is baking, so we're going to press on croissant again. Make sure resolutions are good and height channel is ticked off too. Bake it and wait a bit. Go to File, Export Textures, set your folder correctly, and choose Export Template Right. Once you have your PNG ready, you can use Tool by 510-on to change format to DDS. Or do it manually using paint.net. Just open PNG files there and save them as DDS. Here are the formats that you need to use, recommended by my fellow modder Overshoot 999. Check out their work too, by the way. So you need for color, BC7 sRGB. Normal, BC5 linear signed. Metal, BC4 ATI2. Rough, BC4 ATI2. Textures are alright. Let's get this into the game already.